Shalom and welcome to another in our series of podcasts from Temple Beth Am, a dynamic center for conservative Judaism in Los Angeles. This is Meditation and Mindfulness with Rabbi Adam Kligfeld.
Morning, everyone. Good morning to those who are here in my office at Temple Beth Am. Good morning to those who are joining via Zoom. Good morning to those who are watching on Facebook Live. And hello to anyone who's watching this or listening to this on the Temple Beth Am podcast series. The way the light is streaming in makes it seem like there's a spaceship behind me. I'm not going to spend the time adjusting it because pretty soon your eyes are going to be closed. But I apologize for haloizing myself. Some of you know that I teach a weekly Rashi class. We good?
I was looking for Bobby because his key card. I don't know if he's around here.
Which Bobby?
Bobby, new.
No, but he had a school event this morning. I don't know which one though.
Okay, no worries. Thank you.
Sorry, folks. When security knocks, you answer. So I teach a weekly class on Rashi's commentary on the Torah, and we go slow and deliberate. But as was pointed out Wednesday, once a year, the Parsha that we're reading on Shabbat catches up to what we've been focusing on for a long time. So we are in Parshat Bo. We might even have been in Parshat Bo last year in the Rashi class. I'm not sure, because it usually takes about 18 months to do a Parsha. And so Parshat Bo has been on my mind for a long time. And I think two of my most favorite words in the Torah in terms of how it describes something indescribable, right? There's a lot in the Torah that is indescribable. Bereshit bara Elohim et hashamayim v'et haaretz. In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. We can say we know what that means. We have no idea what that means. But it's the Torah trying to explain yesh ma'ayin, right? Something from nothing. The hardest plague to wrap our minds around what it was, which is a different question than to wrap our minds around the supernatural nature of all the plagues, is the ninth plague, from my perspective. Particularly because when the Torah introduces the ninth plague, we have the phrase vayamesh choshech. And vayamesh is from the root mush, mem vav shin, which sometimes turns into mashash. It means to touch. It means something real. Mamash is probably built from that word. Vayimashesh in Parshat Toldot is how Yaakov was like feeling his son's face to get a sense of whether or not he was not Yaakov, Yitzchak, whether it was Yaakov or Esav. And so Vayamesh Choshech seems to be some way of saying, and it takes so many words to render in English, it was a palpable, feelable, substantive darkness. Rashi says it's not just the absence of light. We have the absence of light all the time. And the ancient world, they certainly had the absence of light all the time, right? When the sun went down, that was choshech. The vayamesh choshech was more of a thickness, right? A matrix of darkness that pervaded their soul, which is different than they just couldn't see. And I think I mentioned this in the Rashi class we got there. It reminds me of the name of the monograph written by William Styron, who many people mostly know of for having written Sophie's Choice. He's battled with terrible depression in his life, and he wrote an unbelievable monograph on his experience of depression, and he named it Darkness Visible. I have no idea if he was connecting to Vayamesh Choshech, but it reminds me of it, right? That his experience of being in depression, which says whatever, if you've never been depressed, but you've been sad, they're not the same thing. Right? Everyone is sad. Not everyone gets depressed, and not everyone has a clinical depression. And he saw it as a darkness that overcame him, that was physical, that was visible, that was palpable. So I bring all that up almost to use it as a straw man or to reverse it. If the Torah is positing that the phrase Vayamesh Choshech makes sense, then maybe so does Vayamesh Or. As if it would be possible for God to say, and light was palpable. Light was real. light was not just the ability to have vision, but as if there is a inner spiritual light that once you're bathed in it, no one could convince you that you're not. There's a pasuk in Tehillim, which I first learned in Latin because it is the motto of Columbia University. In lumine tuo videbimus lumen. All the years I was at Columbia, I had no idea that they were quoting Tehillim. In your light, in lumine tuo videbimus lumen, we see light. Be'orcha nir e'or. There's actually a lovely tune to it. And whatever the verse meant in situ, what I invoke it here to mean, and something that Noah and I spoke about in an earlier conversation, is that the pose of meditation, whether you're going in it theologically or not, is to enter into some grand, beyond, perhaps divine, primal light, and then not just to see it, but to be of it, to feel it, to have your reality be only light. If we can experience a microsecond of that in a meditative mode, it might be enough. So with that in mind, I invite you to close your eyes. I invite you to place your feet flat on the ground in front of you, haven't already. And to have your hands be on your legs, either palms down, so you are gently embracing yourself, or palms up, which is a stance of openness to whatever comes to this moment. Allow yourself to descend into this moment. Feel a beautiful, luxurious heaviness come over your body, as if each cell is weighed down and held by a pillow. Without changing your body posture from all of the right angles you are holding, the right angles between your feet and your lower legs, between your lower legs and your thighs, your thigh and your torso, at the elbow. Hold that position firm and dignified. Somehow imagine that all of the material inside that position you are holding is like mush, is soft and supple, not holding up anything that doesn't need to be held up. Aim for descent. And because no space is hermetically sealed from sound unless it's engineered as such, just push to the periphery of your consciousness any sound that might be penetrating your ears, the whir of a car outside, minor adjustments of someone sitting near you, the ticking of a clock. We don't need to defeat them. Just make them extraneous to this moment and create a womb within which you're barely hearing them. Hearing is physiological and a neural process. See if you can just hear what you want to hear. My voice, or even just the silence in the interstitial moments. Hold and breathe your way into poised rest. Claim this moment, this series of moments, one in which You are very much awake and alert and alive, and very well, and very serene, and very tranquil. Yesh choshech. Darkness was a real thing. What could that have felt like? How bad would it have been a plague akin to water turning to blood, locust swarms? Vayamesh choshech. Try to conjure a few seconds of living in such darkness. Pressure on your chest. The challenge of breathing. The hopelessness, wondering if light would ever return. The heavy ponderousness, invasiveness of this dark. Vayamesh, or just reverse it all in your consciousness. If the Torah had said Vayamesh, or, what would that feel like? What would it be like to be bathed in such ore? The primordial ore of the world. The light that comes not from an incandescent bulb, but from the divine. An illumination that penetrates every cell. An illumination with lift that holds you up, reinforces that you are well. Vayamesh, or delight in this aura. See yourself in that light. Immerse in that illumination. Vayamesh, or In your light we see light. 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 From wherever you were, back to incandescent light. And we'll say the closing meditation prayer 3 times together. May we and all beings have happiness and the causes of happiness. May we all be free of suffering and the causes of suffering. May we all experience true happiness that has no taint of suffering. May we live in great equanimity, free from burdening attachment to loved ones and contempt for others, but rather with compassion for all. May we and all beings have happiness and the causes of happiness. May we all be free of suffering and the causes of suffering. May we all experience true happiness that has no taint of suffering. May we live in great equanimity, free from burdening attachment to loved ones and contempt for others, but rather with compassion for all. May we and all beings have happiness and the causes of happiness. May we all be free of suffering and the causes of suffering. May we all experience true happiness that has no taint of suffering. May we live in great equanimity, free from burdening attachment to loved ones and contempt for others, but rather with compassion for all.
You have been listening to another in our series of podcasts from Temple Beth Am, a dynamic center for conservative Judaism in Los Angeles. If you enjoy these podcasts, we invite you to write a review on the Apple Podcast site or wherever you get your podcasts. For more information about Temple Beth Am Los Angeles, go to tbala.org.